Visitors were rats, birds, flies, and snakes. Our office flooded often, and we used blankets as our office walls. We were broke and needed help. That's why I created Patriot Software, to help small business owners with simple payroll for 1 to 100 employees. And if you need help, we will help you for free. Go to patriotsoftware.com. Use promo code RADIO and get 2 months of payroll processing free. That's patriotsoftware.com.
With patriotsoftware.com, accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com.
8:07 Team Hochberg Traffic Center time in Jim Telemonte.
Inbound Kennedy delays start at Nagel. It's 57 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. 38 from Montrose. 25 on the Express. Outbound 37 minutes to O'Hare. Eden's 19 minutes. Light Cook to the Junction. Outbound 29. Inbound Eisenhower. It's an hour and 10 minutes. 390 to downtown. 55 minutes to Wolf. Outbound 42 minutes. 390. Northbound I-55 delays start at Lockport Road. Then it's an hour and a half, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, an hour from the Tri-State. Outbound 50 minutes to 355. The Ryan 50 minutes, 95 to downtown. I-57, 22 minutes. I-80 to the merge. Bishopford 41. The northbound Tri-State is bottled up. Cicero most of the way to 31st. And from the Reagan to only much of the way to Lawrence. I'm Jim Telemonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Cloudy with occasional snow and flurries throughout the day. Another 1 to 2 inches could fall, high 32. Already over 5 inches of snow this morning in Homewood. 27 at O'Hare, 29 along the lakefront. Your next news update is at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Secure Retirement Radio with host Raj Shah. Sunday mornings at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
One certain Republican voting to convict on Article 1, not a close vote by the two-thirds standard required. And here's Lindsey Graham on the in the well of the Senate, arguing as to what the Democrats have unleashed with this whole impeachment process. Let's try that again. Do we have Lindsey Graham?
Yes, we do. Ready?
This sham process is the low point in the Senate for me. If you think you've done the country a good service by legitimizing this impeachment process, what you have done is unleashed the partisan forces of hell. This is sour grapes. They impeached the President of the United States in 78 days. You could not get a parking ticket if you contested it in 78 days. They gave out souvenir pins when it was over. If you can't see through that, your hatred of Donald Trump has blinded you to the obvious. This is not about protecting the country. This is about destroying the president.
Right. All bets are off. All constitutional orders suspended in pursuit of bad orange man. That's essentially it. And the president is scheduled to speak at 11 a.m. our time on the acquittal yesterday.
And here's Mitt Romney. I mean, he was in tears when he told his colleagues in the Senate and Americans why he's voting guilty on Article 1 of impeachment.
I take an oath before God as enormously consequential. I knew from the outset that being tasked with judging the president, the leader of my own party, would be the most difficult decision I have ever faced. I was not wrong.
And President Trump was quick to take to Twitter, and he had this video montage of Slick Romney, he calls him.
Slick, slippery, stealthy. Mitt Romney had us fooled.
Being in Donald Trump's magnificent hotel and having his endorsement is a delight.
Posing as a Republican, he tried to infiltrate Trump's administration as Secretary of State.
President-elect Trump is the very man who can lead us to that better future.
Now his cover's blown, exposed by news reports as a Democrat's secret asset.
Can't believe you're going to lose. Yeah.
Barack Obama will be reelected president.
Yeah, and it goes on and on.
Yeah, it's a little over the top. It's a little unnecessary, and I don't know that it's actually explanatory. But for more on the topic, we're pleased to be joined by Julie Kelly, senior contributor for American Greatness, amgreatness.com. Julie, thanks for joining us.
Good morning, guys. I'm sorry that video montage cracked me up yesterday.
Well,
made me laugh too. And with the sunglasses, I've never thought of him as Slick Romney. Have you? He's more like a family Mormon man.
No, Trump is exactly right. I mean, I've written about Romney. He has flip-flopped on every position for 25 plus years. And so this should not shock anyone. And I thought it was right on.
Yeah, to paraphrase Mark Antony and Julius Caesar, Mitt Romney is an honorable man, which, of course, is to say he's a treacherous man. He's a politically expedient man. And that's actually his record from the time he ran against Ted Kennedy for Senate for Massachusetts in 1994. All the way through his 2012 nomination to be the Republican Party standard bearer for president. I mean, that his deep and lasting and abiding faith. I mean, I don't, usually get into the business of knowing what's in somebody's heart, but I do measure their words against their actions. And this deep and abiding faith he described as the basis for his vote to convict yesterday comes and goes depending on the political landscape on which he's operating. That's been the behavior, the conduct, the work product of Mitt Romney for 2 decades.
And let's remember, January 1st, 2019, Mitt Romney posts a huge op-ed in the Washington Post about what a bad guy Donald Trump is, how glad Mitt Romney is he's going to be serving the people of Utah in the Senate against, as we say, the bad orange man. So he has had him targeted since before he was even inaugurated as U.S. Senator. So this is not a surprise. It's not virtuous. It's treachery, as you just pointed out, Dan, and I think he's getting all the mocking and criticism he deserves.
Well, do you think there's going to be anything more? I mean, Donald Trump Jr. wants him expelled from the Republican Party. Lou Dobbs last night called him Judas, and he even said yesterday that this is going to have consequences for my wife, my children, and my grandchildren in the years and decades to come. Is he thinking too highly of himself? I mean, is he just trying to seize the moment to be relevant?
I mean, I've argued that we just basically ignore him because he wants this attention. He's thriving on it. He did that lengthy, ridiculous interview with Chris Wallace. This is exactly what his shtick is. He has betrayed the Republican Party, just like John McCain did before he passed away. He worked until his dying day and at his funeral to oppose Donald Trump. The value of Mitt Romney is to remind all of us what we have rebelled against under Donald Trump and why we tolerate some of his bad behavior, because we have been betrayed. We will never go back to, or at least in the near future, ever go back to a candidate like Mitt Romney again.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. I think that's spot on. And you saw this, too, and I just go back to this Angela Codavia piece that was in Am Greatness as well, too. I thought this was an important piece from somebody who was ahead of the learning curve on the ruling class and the revolt against it. The idea, the John Roberts example, too, not reading Rand Paul's question during the Q&A portion of the Senate trial with no real basis, no explanation, and no legal or process basis to not read Rand Paul's question.
And I pointed this out. I'm not bragging about myself, but I'm pointing out John Roberts, remember, is the Chief Justice who appointed every single judge on the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court. He appointed every single one, the same court that authorized the illegal spying on Carter Page for a year, 4 applications before that court. It's unfortunate that John Roberts wasn't as concerned with Carter Page's constitutional rights or imaginary rights that he gave the whistleblower at a court he is basically responsible for, and played political interference during the impeachment trial for the whistleblower and didn't care a bit about what happened to Carter Page.
Just going back to Mitt Romney for a moment, Kim Strassel, Wall Street Journal, tweeted out yesterday, Mitt Romney may think he's taking a shot at POTUS, but any real damage he causes will be, in fact, to Senate Republicans in tough races. Schumer's goal with all of this was retaking the Senate. If he succeeds, he'll hopefully remember to send Romney a thank you. Her point being that Romney provided political cover for the Doug Joneses and the Joe Manchins of the world to vote to convict.
He absolutely did, and Schumer even mentioned yesterday, that this was a bipartisan vote, and so Mitt Romney stepped up and helped the left at its lowest point, and that's one thing he will be remembered for. But look, he's a political loser. He ran for president twice. He lost a very winnable race in 2012. And now he's the junior senator from Utah, and that's how he's going to end his career. And he's only useful to the left after Trump is gone, whether it's after November or after 4 more years. He's not going to be useful, and they'll discard him, and he'll be in the political wilderness where he belongs.
Well, speaking of political losers, Iowa Democratic Party has some egg on their face. We still don't know or have a clear winner in the Iowa caucuses. And what do you think is going to happen? I mean, they looked into it, the shadow app that they used. 2 former Hillary Clinton staffers were in charge of that, and they had 4 years to get this right. And it's not a very good start to the Democratic primary race, is it?
It's not. And you know what, Amy, I was listening to your interview with the Rolling Stone reporter earlier last hour, and I think it just goes to this intersection between the Republican and Democrat rank and file right now, and that is a widespread distrust with the people who are in control of both party establishments. And I think you see that playing out. You have the Bernie people who are still very resentful about what happened in 2016. They're extremely suspicious, just like a lot of us are about the, people that say Romney represents. And so, no, it's not a good start. My piece today in American Greatness is it's really enjoyable to see all this political karma come back and blow up in the Democrats' faces, because this is exactly what they deserve. And the Iowa caucus, I think, is just the beginning to a really disastrous primary campaign the next few months for the Democrats.
And the Democrats are also providing a lot of bulletin board / YouTube material for Republicans over the last week, between the Don Lemon panel, speaking of credulous boomer rubes, to Nancy Pelosi tearing up the president's State of the Union address after he completed it on Tuesday night. Bad optics for the Democrats, but thinking about, and so Trump has been buoyed by that despite the impeachment imbroglio. According to some of the recent surveys, hitting his highest approval ratings of his presidency at present. So that's where we're at. But now tell me what you think in terms of what are the stumbling blocks that Trump has to avoid over the next 9 months to ensure a reelection. What concerns you about this? Because I don't want to fall into the trap of saying, hey, this is a done deal, the chaos on the other side, a great State of the Union address, the economy's growing, they're flailing, and so this thing is all over but the shouting. But I don't believe that, and I want to know what you're concerned about.
Trump's biggest obstacle is Trump. It always has been and always will be. This Gallup poll that came out today that you're referring to, Dan, it's also linked in my piece. These numbers are astonishing, not just for any president given any normal political circumstances, but considering what Trump and the Republican Party have been through for the past 3 years. His approval ratings are higher than ever. The Republican Party's approval rating is better than the Democrats. They have a slight advantage in preferred party identification. The optimism, there are optimism numbers that we haven't seen since I believe it was 1977. People feeling good about the future. And so they really have this exactly where they want it. Who can mess it up? Donald Trump. His demeanor at the State of the Union was perfect, right? It was pitch perfect. He didn't go off script. He wasn't bragging. He just very plainly explained the successes of his administration. He gave credit to the Republicans where it was due. So I think to that, if he can keep that demeanor, just keep plowing along with the things that he's winning on the economy, reorganizing trade deals, strengthening the military, getting out of some of these foreign wars, especially Afghanistan. if he just keeps plugging along with that and not stepping on himself, I think that it will bode well not just for him but for Republicans and actually give them a slightly better chance of taking back the House in November too.
She is Julie Kelly, senior contributor for American Greatness, amgreatness.com. Check out her most recent offering, A Week of Political Karma for the Democrats, as she was describing. Julie, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
You too. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
What would you do if you knew there was a place to learn step-by-step strategies designed to help you make the right moves inside the financial markets? A place to develop skills that can help you generate income and build confidence toward your retirement goals. At Online Trading Academy, we know there's an investor in all of us, and we know how to teach people just like you the skills and knowledge that could empower you to take better control of your financial future. Start by taking our free introductory class at a location near you. Learn about the biggest mistakes investors make and how you can learn to avoid them. Plus, you'll learn strategies that could help you make your money work harder for you. For over 20 years, Online Trading Academy has been teaching students skills designed to help them learn to invest with the confidence of the pros.
Call 844-778-7132 for 2 free tickets to a class in your area and receive our Professional Insiders Kit with lessons from our top instructors just for attending. That's 844-778-7132.